Hello everyone, this week we will learn how to do this landscape painting using watercolors. Welcome to my own studio where I share my passion for watercolor paintings. My name is Dinesh. Today we will learn how to do a watercolor landscape. A lot of beginners often struggle with selecting the right colors and capturing the desired atmosphere. In this video, I will show you how to simplify our scene by creating depth, balancing contrast, and achieving harmony. Before we dive in, be sure to hit the subscribe button to become a part of our ever-growing creative community. Now, without further ado, let's get started, everyone. Before I start any kind of painting, I usually think about simplifying my reference. So, the easiest way I simplify it is thinking in terms of background, midground, and foreground. If you see this reference, the background is the mountain, which is the dark shape. The midground are the houses, and which is sitting on the sand beach. The foreground element is the water, which is reflecting on the top of it. And the sky and stands by itself. So this is how I simplify it, and this is how I do my washes. And if you don't know how to do washes, check out my last week's video, how to do color washes in watercolors. As for the supply goes, I'm using Bowang cotton watercolor paper 300 GSM, and if you can use any watercolor paper you want, but make sure it's 300 GSM. And for the paints, I'm using Winsor Newton professional watercolor paints. You can also use any paints you want. So the first step before I apply my washes is doing the sketching, and I'm doing the sketch really light. I don't know if you can see it while you're watching this tutorial. And I do keep it really light because a lot of people think that when I show my watercolor painting, they think that I don't sketch, because I keep it really light, because the washes you do, sometimes it gets really pale or lighter washes. So the pencil mark shows through. Being said that, you can leave it as it is, don't worry about it. So when it comes to drawing, there is not one tip or I can give that can improve your watercolor. The drawing skill is just keep drawing it, and think everything in shapes and constantly compare one shape to another shape. And that's one thing really helped me in my drawing, is just starting with one shape and comparing with that shape to another shapes which is in my reference. And you can also see that I'm also adding the windows and everything now, because since it's a smaller shape, and it will be really hard to apply the wash on top of it. And this is how my sketching looks like. The first thing I'm going to start is just warming up the wash. So what I mean by that, I'm using a little bit of yellow ochre and I'm bringing it all the way down because there's a little bit of warmth in this scene. And in the reference, it looks really dull and it looks overcast, but there's a little bit of warmth in it. And when I was there, I also, observed the scene. This is a picture was taken in Percé Gaspé in Quebec. Which is in Canada, which is a beautiful city to visit to. And when I was there, there's a little bit of warmth from the sky, and it is penetrating all over the scene. And the water looks really weak as well. It looks a little bit overcast, and there's a lot of green in it. So it's like one green shape. And if you download this iris image, you will see all those colors. Since it's like for a YouTube video in a full HD, it's not showing that much colors in it. And again, you can also see that I'm also mixing a lot of colors in it as well, because it looks a little bit grayish, but I'm going to introduce a little bit of colors, and I'll mix with this this dark shape in the background. So again, when I apply this dark shape, I try to mix a lot of different colors in it. I want to make sure it doesn't look like one big flat shape. Again, I'm not worried about having hard edge or like a soft edge at the background. This is just going to act as a background, so I'm going to keep it as one single shape. And again, you can see that I'm bringing the wash all the way down, and I'm mixing a lot of different blues and greens, and it also gives a really nice foil for our watercolor. So again, when you pick a subject, when you see a shape like this, you can also paint as one single shape. And sometimes it does look boring, so sometimes I put a lot of colors to get the different bit of value in it. And you can also see that it went really dull, and I also glazed over with another wash on top of it to get the darker pigment. And even though in my reference it looks darker, but I'm going to leave it as it is because I want to create a depth and distance in my watercolor painting. So there is one thing in landscapes I usually do is try to create depth. So usually things which are grayish blue goes in distance, and with the lighter value goes in distance, that the darker value comes in the foreground. And you can see that I'm taking a little bit of this grayish gray color in my brush. I kind of like applied on top of the background, so it kind of looks like some of the mountains there. So I'll start with this small house in the midground. So I'm seeing, is it in warm colors or cool colors? If I see a cool color, I'll just use a cool color, and if I use a warm color, I use a warm color. Again, in our reference, the reference looks dull, but if you download the full iris image, you can see all the colors in it. And again, this is kind of the first wash I'm applying. I'm going to apply another wash on top of it, and I'm thinking everything in shapes and how the house is built, and I'm just applying the wash. So there's no logic to it, just seeing the color and applying it. Again, it's a overcast scene and things are really dull, but I want to make sure that showing some colors in my houses as well. And again, you can see that I'm kind of creating this white buildings, and there's a lot of white buildings in this location, so I'm kind of combining each and every shape into one single shape. And you can see that before it dries out, I'm also applying a darker value, so it kind of gives this really nice blurry shadows at the bottom of the roofs. So the same thing for this roof as well, and there's kind of like this white building underneath it, and there's also darker roof as well. Now again, if you see the reference and if you see our wash, it kind of looks a little bit pale and lighter. Since our first wash, I'll slowly build up the pigment. So this is another thing which is kind of like sits on the midground, and this kind of like this greenish foliage, and which also connects to the beach on a sandy beach. So what I did is I applied the wash using burnt amber and a little bit of green in it, and I put a little bit of pale yellow on top of it, so it kind of gives the illusion of grass on top of it. Now I'll combine those grass with this grayish pebble beach, and you can see that there's a little bit of a lighter value on the right hand side, and you slowly have a darker value, but I kind of created in one single shape. I'm also adding the shore. There's a little bit of this brownish reddish color underneath it, so I'm kind of adding that as well. And there's also a lot of memory from this place, so I was standing there for quite a while. I did quite a little bit of sketch, so I'm a little bit know about the colors as well. And you can see that now I'm adding the kind of like the second wash on top of these buildings there. And you can see that as soon as we add it, you will see that things will start taking in shapes. And you can see that I'm adding the shadow side for the first building, and as soon as we add it, you can see that light started appearing, and the houses kind of looks 3D now. And again, like it's the same thing, I'm using a grayish color to block these houses on the other side of it. And I also think about if there's an opportunity to show lighting in one of the side of the walls, I'll just leave it as it is. And I also noticed that this green foliage kind of got dull. So what I'll do is I'll take some dark pigment and I'll create some rocks where it's ending. I don't know if you could see those rocks where the shore is ending near the grass patch. And when I was painting, I was looking at this reference in iPad Pro. It's a little bit of bigger screen, so I can see all the details. But if you see this tutorial on a mobile or something, you would be able to see it. But make sure if you see in a bigger screen, you'll be able to see all those details. And you can also see that once we added like a lot of colors on so the value started appearing on our scene, and you can see that the water looked really dark in the beginning, but now becomes dull. So you can see that the water is kind of like a big flat shape, but I'm introducing a little bit of colors here and there. Again, when I paint, I try to show a lot of colors in my painting to show a little bit of foil there. So now I'm going to do some dry brush. This is just to show the waves which is in the seashore, just not to bring some of the highlight. So I want to create this impression of waves, because if I leave the water as it is, it would have looked really dull. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a really nice crisp line brush, and I'm trying to create these waves of going like a V shape, which is at the top. And I'm trying to create that pattern what I'm seeing from reference. Again, when I do it, I don't copy as it is. I try to change, try to group everything, and trying to think everything in the pattern. If you can see that the patterns are usually like a V shape with a little bit of squiggly lines going from there. And I'm also trying to capture the waves as well, like which is going up and down. I'm also adding couple in the seashore as well. So now I'm going to use a little bit of a darker pigment because the windows got a little bit dull. So I'm just going to bring out those details using I was using French ultramarine blue and a little bit of white paint and a little bit of neutral tint in it. So I don't want to have this super dark because this buildings exist in the mid-ground. So I don't want to make sure to not to make it super dark because I want to make sure the value goes in all the way in distance. Again, so whenever you paint, try to have darker values in the foreground, and in the mid-ground try to have like a little bit of grayish values, but as it goes in the background, I have like a really lighter value. So if you do this, your painting will look really creates a really nice depth, and it also looks visually nice as well. So I'm taking this white paint from my palette. This is Chinese white, and I'm trying to bring the details of the roofs. And now I'm using white paint. This is white paint gouache. I'm trying to add some wave impressions where the seashore is meeting. And there's also a little bit of sparkles happening here and there. And I'm trying to add this in the foreground. Again, the things I'm adding is just to take us to lead us into the painting and nothing more than that. So this is how the painting looks like at the end. I don't want to ruin my painting by adding more details, but you can see that I took something and tried to capture the essence from that scene, and we created this really moody landscape. If you see the reference, everything looks gray, but whereas in our painting there's a little bit of colors here and there, which are also really visually pleasing for our eyes. So now it's your turn. Take my reference or pick your own reference and try to apply the techniques what I've showed today, and let's see what you can come up with. Thank you once again for watching this painting tutorial. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. If you have any other watercolor related topics you would like me to cover, reach out to me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or leave a comment on below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and be sure to hit the subscribe button to become a part of our learning community. By subscribing, you will receive weekly upload notifications and stay updated on our channel and share with your fellow artists, friends and family. And good luck with your painting, folks.